Guys, you can join the session quickly so that we can start off with the session. So please try to join with the new link because I've sent you a new link. You can join with that. Okay, fine. We have people joining in, so no issues. You can start with the session. So just took a small 5 minutes break, guys. Okay. So after discussing about these three operators, though the main thing about this Python is called the data structures. So what are all the data structures and why do you need these data structures in Python is very simple to understand. So the data structures in Python is divided into list, tuples, dictionaries. So these are all the main data structures in case of Python. So why do you need data structures, guys? Since we already had integers, so since we already had floating point data, since we already had string data, so why do we need these data structures is the question. So the data structures are necessary in Python because, see, for example, if I want to store the data of a class data containing the internal marks, so I need to create student1, student2, like this. I need to create different variables. So that is why for storing multiple data we need something called as data structures. So we can start with the basic thing called as string before going into list, tuples and dictionaries on how to actually work with the string. So when I want to initialize a string, as I already told you, you can directly use a variable name. So I'm using s. So I can type in Python is a programming language. So this is a way how I initialize a string. So either I could use double quotes or either I could use single quotes. Everything is possible to use in. So single to double quotes, I mean, if I start with single, I need to end with single. If I'm using double, I need to use double. So this is the way how I use a string in case of Python. But how do I access the elements of the strings? Only if I want to access P, only if I want to access Y or T. So that is why you will use this index numbers. So index numbers are like the roll numbers or USA numbers that is given by like in your programming language, for example. So what are the index numbers? So for example, when I want to access the first characters, I will always use from 0. So the index is always starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, so that till the end of the particular string. So 0 will give me the first character, 1 will give me the second character. So that is how I can access the different characters. But how will I understand what is the length of the string? So length of the string is understood by len of the string. So len is a command to understand the length. So the total length is 28 here. So that is how you could access the elements of the string. So the thing is good, we can access the elements of the string using the index number. What if I want to access from the different range? I want to access like range from 1 to 10 index numbers. So that is why you need to use this semicolon operator, where this colon operator is telling you to understand that. So this is how you could try to access the elements of the particular, elements of a particular string. So elements of a particular string could be accessed using this colon numbers. So for example, when I am trying to access 0 to 12, I can access using this. So 0 to 12 is starting from 0th index. Ending at 12th, it is nothing but 12th is nothing but the 12th won't be included, it will be till 11. So starting it will always be included, starting index, but ending index it won't be included, it is ending index minus 1. So that is the basic thing that you need to understand about Python. So where you are trying to see which is the starting index and which is the ending index, but you can also use it from reverse also. You can access from minus 1. So what is minus 1? It will access from reverse order. So it is giving me the last one, that is G. So minus 5 to minus 2 you can access. So for example, if I want to access it in a reverse order, so minus 5 to minus 2. So it is, I'm getting this minus 5 to minus 2. So if this is minus 1, so n will be minus 2, a will be minus 3, l will be minus 4. So like that. So you can access different elements either from forward order or reverse order using the index. So if it is from starting, it will be 0. If it is from ending, it will be minus 1 to what is the length of the minus 27. So like that, you can access the elements of the string. So there are different string operations, guys, like converting into uppercase, lowercase, checking whether some things are present. They're all in the documentation. You can see what are all the string operations. But you can do different operations. For example, s dot upper, so you can convert all the data to lowercase or uppercase, so that is possible. So these kind of inbuilt functions are there. You can refer to those inbuilt functions. I am not going to deal with inbuilt functions. So this is the basic element that is a string. But what is that other element that is there is called a list. So how do you initialize a list? You can keep in any variable name that I want. I'll keep it as L. So to initialize the list, I will try to use this square brackets. So what I can do in list is I can store numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like this I can store numbers, or else I can store strings like hello, and I can also even store a boolean value like true, or even I can store floating point. So all these things can be stored inside the list. So what is the whole purpose? So you can think of this imagine situation where you are trying to store name, you are trying to store whether you have cleared the last semester or not, your previous semester CGPA, and other data that you want to store. So like this, any kind of data can be stored inside a list. So instead of storing student name is equal to like XYZ, student marks is equal to, instead of storing it in more number of variables, your job is done simpler using these data structures. So what are the data structures available? List, tuples and dictionaries. So list, it is simple. You need to use square brackets to initialize a list. You can store any different elements, whatever you want you can store, different basic data types. So for example, if I want to print the list elements, again like a string, it will always start from my index number. So what is the index number? Index number is starting from my 0, or it is like it should start from 0 to the index number is last one, that is the end of the string. So simple. If I want to start from 0, it is the first element that I will get. So exactly like a string it works. So if I want to get the length of a list, I can use len of L, so you will get the length of the list. So like this, you can try to do the same thing. So if I want to access from first few elements, so 0 to 4 elements, that is 0 to 4th index that I want to access, it will give me it is L of 0 to 4, so it will give me the particular data, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can even put a list inside a list. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4 I can put in list inside a list. So if I want to access that element, it is in which position? So what I can do is len of -1 is my L of -1 is my last element. So in that, if I want to access my second element, that is 2, so I will use here again, it starts from 0, first index. So first index is 1, I will try to use. So what will give me? It will give me 2. Why? Because see, the first element is starting from 0 and something. So since the last element can be accessed by -1, so if I give L of -1, it is giving me the list. So 1, 2, 4. In that list, if I want to access the second element, I am giving index number. 0 is the first index, 1 is the second index. So like this, you can put a list inside the list also. See, list is exactly similar to a tuple. So the whole point of difference between a list and tuple is list uses square brackets and your tuples uses your curved bracket. So that is the whole point of difference between a list and tuple. So, but what is the main difference is list is a mutable data type. Tuple is an immutable data type. So what is the difference between immutable and mutable is, see, in case of list, I will use square brackets here to initialize a list. So in case of tuple, I will use a curved brackets. So if I want to change the element of the list, so for example, L of 0, if I want to change it to the first element, if I want to change it to Python, so easily I can do it. So I can alter the elements of the list very easily in case of Python. So if I want to print L here, so I can easily alter the elements of my list in case of Python. That is the possibility of my mutability of list. So it can be muted or it can be changed. Any data type inside or any element. So I can add elements of my list. I can remove elements. So these are all functions are available. You can use append to add. So you can use pop to delete. So all these things are available in list. But the thing about tuple is, so you cannot remove the elements. So once I create a tuple using curved braces, so I cannot change the elements or I cannot remove or add or elements inside my tuple. So if I do L of 0, so the major problem that I have is I cannot add or remove the elements of my tuple. So this is the problem. So what is the problem? So the main thing is, in case of a tuple, you cannot add or remove the elements of my data. So only single data will be left inside my tuple. So the thing is, once you create a tuple, it cannot be altered. So where you need this? So whenever you're trying to give your username and password, so if any person tries to hack in and change it, it is not possible, because once you have stored this data inside a tuple, you cannot change it. So that is why we call it as immutable or non-changeable. So tuple is immutable data type that you all need to understand. Only point of difference is instead of square bracket, you are using curved brackets. Other than that, everything is same. The way you access the tuple is also same. You can access the element, but you cannot change it. You can print out L of 0 to 3. So this is possible. So you can print out elements, you can use them, that is all possible. But the thing with tuples is you cannot alter the tuple. So this is very good thing about tuples. So the last data structure that we are trying to understand is called a dictionary. So why do you need a dictionary, or how a dictionary works? See, the major problem with list and tuples is, for example, I will have a list. Okay. So inside this list, I will try to store 100 and like thousands of elements. But how will I get to know the index number? That is a problem, right? So whenever we are trying to think of a practical scenario, I cannot get the index number, because things I won't keep it in order itself. So there are a lot of issues. So the only way to access a list element is using its index number or its values also you can try to use. But if there are repeated values also, so that is also a problem. So then what we are trying to do is we are trying to create a separate data type. So that is called as dictionaries. So why this dictionary came into picture is, dictionary, like for example, if you want to look for a word in a dictionary, you will start with a keyword. So if you are looking for a word called animal, first you will look at a page. After that, you will try to go to A, M, A, N, like that you will try to find the word. So similarly, the disadvantage of list and tuple is you always need to use your 0 and 1, that I mean your index values. So this is the main disadvantage. So what is the good thing about dictionary is, you can use your own index value. So you don't need to start with 0, 1, 2, 3 to access the element. So if I have L is equal to 0, 1, 2, so I need to use L of 0 to get 0, L of 1 to get 1, L of 2 to get 2 value. That is very important. Index I need to use. But in case of dictionary, so I will call it as D. So how to assign a dictionary? It will be assigned using this particular flower braces. So this is very important in case of dictionaries. So once you use this flower braces in the dictionaries, it is very simple. So what is happening is, you can assign your own index value. So what is your own assignment in index values is, you can easily try to assign your own index value. So for example, so I will assign an index value called as high. So this is my index value. So I can put it in a value of 12. So then I can use 455 to assign it to a value of word. So this can be done. So your index can be anything. So it can be in any order. It can be a string also. It can be a float also. Or it can be your integers also. So this is how you are trying to access the elements of a dictionary. How you create a dictionary. So this is the key and this is the value. So dictionaries are always created on a key value pair. So this is the key and this is the value that will be there. So key value pairs you can try to use and access the elements of the dictionary. So this is what is about a dictionary, where you're trying to access the key value pair element. So this is about your this is the key and this is the value. So if I want to access, or if I want to print the element that is 12, so I need to use D of high. So only when I use D of high, so I can print these elements with the particular use case. Okay. So this can be done. Okay. So this can be done with the elements of my particular dictionary. So if I want to print a word, I need to use D of 455. So this is available. So like this, you can use your variable keys instead of indices. You can use variable keys of dictionaries. Again, there are different dictionary methods, list methods to add elements, remove elements, and alter, and to get or fetch elements. They're all discussed in functions. Basic functionalities, you can check them out on different books that are available or online resources. They're all simple to understand. So these are all the major things that are there. And one more thing is called a set. Okay, set is exactly similar to a dictionary, but the whole thing is there will be no key value pairs. But have you heard about a set in case of your set theory? So for example, if I have 1, 2, 3 elements in a 1, 2, 3, again 3, 3, 3, 3 elements in my set. So set is what? It doesn't contain any duplicate values. So when I create set, again it is created using flower braces only, but there is no key value pair allocation. So key value pairs are allocated using a colon. So that is not there in case of set. So sets are assigned directly. So when I try to print S here, this is a set. So how do I use it? So when I print S here, So the repetition won't be there. It will be just 1, 2, 3. So this is one small data structure that you could use, but not used much. I mean, it is not used in a very good scale. So, I mean, these are all the things that you need to understand in the first part of basics of Python. So, first part is we understood all the input output statements, operators, as well as our data structures, basic data structures. In the second part, we'll be organizing another session on Friday. Tomorrow is festival, so we won't be organizing. So Saturday we'll be organizing one more thing. So there we'll be just discussing about the conditional statements as well as the looping statements in Python. That is the programming 2. So before that, I will be giving you an assignment regarding the basics of Python. So you could work with that and you could try to understand the basics. So please do know the basics before trying to jump into data science or artificial intelligence. That is why stress on the basics. So this is very important to put a stress on the basics. So very important to put this stress on basics. So in the next class, that is on Saturday, we will be teaching you on how to actually, work with the conditional as well as the conditional as well as looping statement. Very small part, half an hour video I'll be live session I'll be doing just to discuss. Or else if you have any doubts regarding Python also, you could discuss it there on that particular session. So I'll be taking up. Before that, I'll be giving you an assignment. So assignment, where to submit, how to submit, how to do things, I'll be putting on the WhatsApp. So you could try to use that. So I think you have got the basic gist of Python. Still some more concepts are left. We'll deal with that on Saturday. So thank you guys for attending and have a very good day ahead. So thanks a lot.